Hey guys, welcome back. So, happy Canada Day to my fellow countrymen. As you can see, I'm wearing my Roots sweater today. And for those of you that don't know, Roots is a pretty famous brand here in Canada. And I heard a rumor or something that Roots stands for, or it's a slang for sex in Australia. So I'm not sure if we have any Australian audience members. If you're Australian, please comment down below and verify if this is true or not. That will lead to some awkward conversations. If you're American, don't worry, I'm sure you know July the 4th is just around the corner. So I know this is kind of a crazy time for everyone, but I think it's important for everyone to just kind of take a step back and connect with family and friends. And if you can't connect with them in person, make sure you like Zoom meeting them or something like that, right? If you can't social gather in large numbers like we usually do, but make sure you kind of catch up with friends and family during this difficult time. But before I begin today's video, I just want to give an update to a video that I made that came out this Monday. That video did absolutely amazing, and I think it was a top performing video out of the last 10 videos that I made. So thank you guys to all those who commented, who hit the like button, or even if you didn't do either of those things, just by watching it, you're giving me that sweet watch time. So thank you so much. Now, I just want to correct a minor mistake that I made. As some of you pointed down in the comments, the company that I was talking about is not pronounced Helion. It's actually pronounced Hyliion. So apologies for mispronouncing that for the entire video. Now that record is going to be out forever and I can't go back and change it, unfortunately. But in my defense, I've seen other YouTubers make videos on this company and they're all pronouncing it Helion. So I just kind of went with the flow. But no, it's actually pronounced Hyliion. So sorry for messing that up. And just to give you guys an update on Hyliion, you'll remember that I bought 50 shares of Hyliion, and for transparency's sake, I actually sold out of half my position on Monday. So you remember I bought 50 shares, I sold 25 shares. So the reason why I did that is because the stock has just basically almost doubled. So I almost just doubled my money. And by selling half, effectively, I've recouped like 90% of my cost basis of money that I initially put in. So the stock will literally have to go to like $3 or something for me to be down on my position in total. And the reason why I did that is basically I removed all the risk that I have, right? So if you think about it, I put all my money in and then it doubles, and then I remove my initial investment, which means that the rest is it's called house money, right? So it's like when you go to a casino and you win big, and then you take your initial investment out and then you just play with house money, with money that you won. So which means that no matter what happens, even if the worst case happens and Hyliion goes bankrupt or something, then I wouldn't lose that much, right? I would lose only like 10% of what I put in. So I actually wanted to wait until it had achieved double. So I think double of my original cost basis will be around like $35 a share or something. And it got up to like 33 or 34, I think, at one point. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not waiting. I'm just gonna sell out of half of my shares. And now in the long term, I still believe in Hyliion. It's just, I think that the stock went up a little bit too much too fast. Now, if I see my position just like double within a matter of literally like 2-3 days, of course, I'm gonna at least trim a little bit. And yeah, if the stock goes back down to my cost basis or near where it's at, I might consider averaging down. But for now, I think I'll just leave the rest of my shares and see what happens. So that's an update on Hyliion stock. Now, just the final thing, a reminder that the Q&A is still going on. Now, initially, I was worried that not too many people are going to ask questions and I'm just going to be left in an awkward position where like 2 people ask questions or something. But actually, I'm very pleasantly surprised. So thank you guys all for asking the questions. And if I didn't respond to you, or if you messaged me on Instagram or Twitter, or if you just commented down below in that video and I didn't reply, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just waiting for all the questions to come in, and then I'm gonna consolidate all of them and make a video on it addressing probably not every single one because I won't have time, but addressing the majority of them. Look out for that video. That's gonna come out maybe like Friday, I'm hoping, but yeah, Friday or Saturday, one of those days, I'm gonna put out a video addressing all the questions. So anyways, yeah, that's the Q&A. So let's jump into today's video. So what are we talking about today? Well, today I'm talking about 3 stocks that I'm definitely gonna buy if the price is right. So I'm looking for a good deal on these three stocks. And I think if the stock market crashes and takes these three stocks down, then I'm definitely going to be loading up the boat on all of these three stocks. Now, I'm not too excited on buying these stocks right now because I think that the price is a little bit high, but we'll get into the reasons why I'm so excited about these three stocks and why they're up on the top of the foremost part of my watch list. But I'm going to impose a rule though, and the rule is that these three stocks are not stocks that I already own, and they're not stocks that I frequently talk about on this channel. And the reason is that I'm sure all of you are tired of hearing me talk about Tesla stock or Facebook or any of these big companies that I'm already invested in, because I already made videos on those. And also, don't get mad at me for missing something, because this is not meant to be a video that's going to be an in-depth analysis of these three stocks. I'm just talking about them, and this video is just going to be me complaining that the price is too high, essentially. So don't be like, oh Andy, you missed this, you missed that. Like, I'm gonna miss a lot of things just because I'm quickly talking about this, and I don't want this video to be like 45 minutes to an hour long. So I'm just gonna talk about exactly what I see and what I'm excited about in these stocks, and why I think that I'm going to pick up some shares if the price just goes a little bit lower than what it is now. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So the first stock that I want to talk about is Apple. And I can't believe I haven't made a video on Apple already, and I can't believe I haven't talked about Apple on this channel that much, but I'm sure you know what Apple is. I'm not going to explain what Apple is. If you don't know what Apple is at this point, I don't even know what to tell you. I love Apple for the same reasons why Warren Buffett loves Apple. And I'm not sure if you know this, but Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, their biggest position is Apple. So they own like billions and billions of dollars worth of Apple stock. And Warren Buffett is usually not known to be a tech investor, right? In fact, just because of his age, he doesn't understand tech the same way that us youngsters or us millennials do, right? So he's not a big tech investor, and people have criticized him for missing a lot of opportunities in the tech industry. But one big opportunity in the tech industry that he did not miss is Apple stock. And this is one stock that obviously he does understand because he's put a lot of money into this stock, and he's been right all along, because he bought this stock back when it was like super cheap, right? Back it was in the $100 range-ish, and then now I think now it's at like $300 something, right? It's at all-time highs. So yeah, Warren Buffett usually doesn't involve himself in tech stocks, but Apple is the odd exception. And I'm sure you guys can already tell why Apple is such an attractive investment. It's just because Apple products are so dominant in our lives, right? So for me, I have a ton of Apple products, and Apple's just like completely taken over my life. Now I have a PC hooked up to this monitor just because sometimes I do like to play games, but I also have a Mac Mini, which is not plugged in at the moment, but it's all the way back there. I'm not sure if you can see it. I also have a pair of Beats, which Apple acquired, so Apple owns Beats now. And also, for my daily driver, I'm using the iPhone XS Max, and this is a great phone, right? So this is not the latest version, by the way. So the latest version is the 11 Pro Max, but this is the version before that. And even as a version before that, this is still lightning fast. I've never had any crashes. I've never had any issues with this phone. So this phone is absolutely great. And it's going to age very well. So I think Apple actually supports the original iPhone SE on their latest software. So if you think about how long ago the original SE came out, right? So it runs the same processor as the iPhone 6s. So the iPhone 6s processor still supports the latest software, so that's absolutely amazing, and Apple's got such great software support. And if you put the latest operating system on an iPhone SE original, it still runs fine, right? So it doesn't like kill itself. Now also recently I took the plunge and I got the iPad. So this is the 2018 edition, and this is the 1TB 4G LTE edition, so it's quite expensive. And I also got the Apple Pencil to go along with it. And both of those together, I think it came out to like almost 1,500 Canadian dollars, right? So I'm not sure about you guys, but since considering I lost my job a couple of months ago, $1,500 is a lot of money to me, and this literally, it cost me an arm and a leg, right? But I just think that I took the plunge because I think Apple just makes such great products, and I wanted to experience the iPad life finally. Even during hard times, I think people are still willing to shell out money for Apple products, which just goes to show their dominance in the market. And now you're probably wondering why I didn't buy any Apple stock. And the reason is just because of valuation, right? So if you look at a chart of what Apple stock looks like for the past, I don't know, like 2-3 years, they've just been on an absolute tear, right? The stock is actually at all-time highs right now. And you guys know I don't like buying stocks at all-time highs. Now, a couple of years back, back when Apple was at like, $140, $150, that would have been a great time to buy Apple stock. And if you bought Apple stock back then, that literally would have just been like free money, honestly. But unfortunately back then I didn't have that much money to invest, so I didn't have money to invest in Apple because this was before I even bought any Tesla stock actually. So yeah, I didn't have any money to invest, unfortunately, so I missed the boat on Apple. And now the stock has essentially doubled or tripled up, and it's at all-time highs. So I feel like kind of left behind on that. And right now I could buy into Apple stock, but the valuation is it's a little bit rich, let me just say that. But yeah, if we do have a second crash and Apple stocks drop by like 10, 20, 30%, you can bet that I'll be buying it very heavily. So anyways, yeah, that's Apple. So the second stock that I want to talk about is Square, ticker symbol SQ. Now some of you might not know what Square is, so in case you don't know what it is, they do payment processing and they have the point of sale systems or the POS systems. POS stands for point of sale, not like piece of shit, right? So yeah, anyways, Square sells the POS systems and then they typically aim their business towards small businesses. So if you ever go into like a hipster cafe shop or something like that and you pay using like an iPad, or sometimes you have like a phone thing that you can swipe your credit card with, yeah, those are probably run by Square. So talking about Square, actually, they had a program a while ago and I got this like little Square reader thing. As you can see, it's like a little thing. It plugs into your phone through the headphone jack and then you can like swipe your credit card through it. So yeah, I have one of these things just because I applied for the program, but unfortunately I didn't really use this thing because people don't pay me with credit card for anything. Yeah, so I never really got to use this thing, but it's just one of those things that they do to help small businesses. And the reason why I'm so excited about Square stock is that a lot of my friends who majored in computer science or who have some sort of relationship with the tech industry, somehow they all own Square stock. Now I know this is kind of anecdotal and I don't want to make like a proof by example or anything like that, but I feel like that's a vote of confidence from the tech industry. So every time I go ask one of my friends and ask them, do you invest? Sometimes they'll say yes. And then when I ask them what they invest in, like 9 out of 10 people that I ask will say Square stock. So, maybe they're seeing something that we're not seeing, right? Maybe they're seeing something that us like finance people or just us common folk cannot see. So the way I see it, an analogy for this is if every doctor you go to is investing in some pharmaceutical company, right? So you might not know anything about pharmaceuticals, but if everyone in the industry, in the relevant industry, is interested in buying a stock or already owns a certain stock, then maybe that company is offering something that's really valuable or truly revolutionary that the rest of us are just struggling to see, right? So yeah, I just think that there's a lot of potential around Square and people are moving more towards online point of sale as well, right? So they have online solutions for e-commerce and things like that. So I just think, yeah, there's such a high potential for Square, but unfortunately the stock is at all-time highs right now, or if it's not at all-time highs, it's like really richly valued. So for the same reason why I didn't buy into Apple, I'm a little hesitant into buying Square at current levels, but if we had a crash like we did back in March, I'll definitely be interested in picking up some shares. So anyways, that's Square stock. Now the third and final stock that I want to talk about today is Boeing. So hopefully I don't have to explain what Boeing is. They make planes and they also have defense contracts with the US government and whatnot. So back in March, they actually hit a very low of $95. So they actually broke the $100 mark. I have to make an apology on camera that I got way too greedy. I was watching the stock and then I was watching it drop by like literally like 10% a day, right? So I was watching it drop and I was like, you know what, Boeing, they're not gonna go bankrupt, right? The US government is not gonna let them go bankrupt. bankrupt just because they have so much like defense technology. Imagine if Boeing went bankrupt and then all that technology just ends up at like a Chinese embassy or something. The US government's never going to let that happen, right? So Boeing's never going to go bankrupt. So the government's going to bail them out. And if the stock drops to, $95, you're pretty much guaranteed to make money when you buy that stock. So I should have bought some stock in Boeing, but I didn't just because I got too greedy and I was watching the stock drop and I was like, maybe it'll go lower, maybe it'll go lower. And then it started going lower and then it was like, maybe it'll go even lower. So then, and then it just started rebounding and then I was like, oh, well, I missed the boat. So yeah, it bounced from like 95-ish, to where it is now, which is at $180-ish. So you know what I was saying about keeping our money managers responsible for the opportunities that they miss, right? Not only should you keep your money managers responsible for not losing money, you should also keep your money managers responsible for not missing any great opportunities that come their way. So yeah, I just want to apologize publicly on camera that this is one opportunity that I did miss. You guys should totally hold me accountable to missing this opportunity. And now arguably the stock is still undervalued at $180 per share because it used to be a $400 stock. Now the reason why I'm not such a big fan of Boeing is because I don't particularly like the management. So arguably the stock was only $400 because the company's management engaged in massive stock buybacks back before the whole Roni situation broke out and before the current issues with the 737 MAX planes. So back before all those issues started unfolding, the stock was kind of artificially inflated by the company's management when they decided to use their cash to buy back a ton of stock. Now that makes shareholders happy because the stock price just goes through the roof, but fundamentally you're not really improving the business, right? So I feel like over the years I've seen documentaries on, I think it was CNBC, or documentaries on YouTube that interviewed former Boeing engineers, and they were all saying how the company is slowly becoming more and more bureaucratic and less about innovation and building great products. So I'm not too sure about the management, and the CEO that was originally responsible for the 737 MAX issue, he did get fired. So I think he got fired back in December, and then the new CEO took over in January. So unfortunately the new CEO hasn't had that much time to really prove himself. The new CEO, David Calhoun, like I don't know what to make of him, right? Because essentially I don't know anything about him. Now in my opinion, Boeing's definitely been bogged down by bureaucratic and management issues. So it remains to be seen whether or not Calhoun can really take the company and turn it around. So Boeing reminds me a lot of pre-Satya Nadella Microsoft actually, where the company was just becoming more bureaucratic and stagnating over the course of many years. Now Nadella came and then revitalized the company. So I think what Boeing needs is Satya Nadella. But unfortunately Satya Nadella is too busy being the CEO of Microsoft, and it remains to be seen if Dave Calhoun is the Boeing's version of Satya Nadella. Now if he is, the stock is just definitely going to rebound and it's going to probably hit all-time highs again. Again, it remains to be seen whether or not that is true. But anyways, the video is getting a little long, so I'll end it here. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you like this series. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'll leave the links down below in the description. And don't forget, you guys got like 2 more days to participate in the Q&A if you haven't already. So links down below to that video, and leave a question in the comments or message me on Twitter or Instagram. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.